With the signing of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement by President Muhammadu Buhari recently, stakeholders are eager to know the benefits inherent. But the question is, what is the role of the media in ensuring that there is comprehension? My guest, HAMZAT, a producer with the NTA Programs Department, will provide answers. It's nice to have you in our studio.
My pleasure.
All right, so tell us, what exactly would be the role of the media in ensuring that stakeholders, a layman, understand what the agreement is all about?
Fundamentally, the AfCFTA is an initiative of the African Union. And of course, being the initiative of the African Union means that it's an homegrown effort by the regional bloc to ensure that we integrate economically. And of course, the many issues of Africa not interacting with each other are put on the side. The media have a huge role to play, in ensuring that the populace, Africans, Nigerians, as it were, get to know the benefit of this, because it's not enough to craft all these noble initiative, agreements, beautiful impact on the economy. The people that will impact, that these things will impact on, need to understand the role they will play and the kind of benefits, so that way they can key into the many benefits of the AfCFTA.
Okay. All right, now let's talk about trade itself. Most people do not really understand what the components are all about. They want to know, because this will spur growth, economic growth. Entrepreneurs will come up. There will be job creation, wealth creation and job generation. Now, media has a role to play. Are we ringing the bell?
First, I begin with the media themselves. A lot of our colleagues need to understand what the agreement itself is all about, because you cannot give what you don't have.
Yes.
The people who would disseminate need to understand the message they are conveying to the public in the first instance. So I will begin with the media themselves. The media need to acquaint itself with the AfCFTA, the benefits, and the framework of how the AfCFTA will work in countries and, of course, in the region. Then, of course, we can now translate to how the populace should be informed. Now, many times, policies and programs of government get lost in ambiguity. Ambiguity in the sense that we speak too much English in this part of the world. We are typically grassroots people in Africa. That's not to say I'm undermining our people, but the real sense is that there is no meaning communicating with people when the message is lost in the communication process. So the media itself need to understand what the AfCFTA is all about. And then, of course, our mode of transmitting these messages to the people have to be the everyday language. I watch many television programs since the signing of the agreement by Nigeria. And even the elites, so to say, are confused.
Yes. You
know why? Because the language of communication of the AfCFTA, I've seen many media jargons, permit the word now, because even the acronym, many media houses get it wrong. It's AfCFTA, not ACTA.
Yes, not the other way around.
Now, what that tells you, the fact that the media itself doesn't even understand the message. So the media have a huge role to play in the sense that we need to break down the benefits. Okay. We need to break down the framework, how the whole AfCFTA will impact jobs for young people.
Yes.
Many African countries are plagued with unemployment. Now you are having the largest singular market in the world, 1.2 billion people. That's huge.
That's huge.
Now, manufacturing is going to bloom, industrialization. You're talking about transformation in raw produce from Africa. I mean, Côte d'Ivoire, for instance, produce the largest cocoa in the world. Now, how do you translate your cocoa produce into chocolate, into beverages?
Okay, now, before we delve into that and then talk about standardization, let's talk about local manufacturers. Now, no doubt, with the signing of that agreement, there's an open market in front of Africa.
Absolutely.
And she's ready to hit the market.
Absolutely.
Now, what will happen to the local economy? Will this agreement harm or grow the economy?
In turn, it's a huge benefit for local economies across Africa. Now, what that tells you...
Because we understand that the bigger markets, the bigger players in the economy are already taking advantage.
Well, that's not true. On the surface, many people will see it that way.
Okay.
But you see, to imagine a local producer in Aba, for instance, who probably have a market range of just maybe the Aba Township and maybe neighboring states, now have a huge region open to you because of the framework of the AfCFTA. You have the borders, because part of the benefits and the framework of AfCFTA is that you're going to have less border restrictions.
Yes.
You're going to have less border barriers. Now, what that implies is that instead of crossing the border and paying plenty tariffs, you're going to be paying minimum tariffs across the border.
Yes.
So for local players, for small, medium players, you know, in various countries across Africa, they have a huge market to market to, a huge market to relate with. So I don't see threat to the smaller countries or to the smaller players. It's a huge market ahead of them. You know, for instance, a producer in Lagos, for instance, that sells probably to Igbo market and suburbs, can go to Seme, can go to as far as Togo and Benin Republic to sell. So there is no threat to the small players. The small players have a huge access as equal as the big players.
The big players, okay. Now, apart from standardization, the issue of standardization, there's the issue of trust and then porous borders. How do we handle these challenges?
Well, the beautiful thing about this agreement, unlike the previous ones we've seen, you know, on the continent, is that it took cognizance of so many loopholes, so many failings of the previous agreement. One of the reasons why Nigeria didn't sign, you know, it took us almost a year, or over a year actually, to sign the agreement, is the fact that Nigeria was concerned about the rule of origin. The rule of origin implies that you need to guarantee that the product coming into our economy is really and truly manufactured in those countries where they originate from. That is you know, an effort to curb incidents of dumping, because part of the fears of AfCFTA is that it will lead to dumping by the big economies around the world. They're going to set up factories in neighboring countries, branded names of those countries, and bring it to your economy, thereby threatening the growth of the small players in your economy. But the rule of origin now says, look, you must guarantee, for instance, if you're having Ethiopian coffee come into our shelves in Nigerian shops, there must be a 100% guarantee it's wholly and 100% Ethiopian. If you have chocolate coming in from Ivory Coast, there must be a guarantee 100% produce of Ivory Coast.
Now, there's also the issue of false declaration. How do we handle that?
Well, false declaration will be taken care of by standardization. Because you're not just saying your market is open and everybody can bring in things. You're going to have measures at country level now, which is why beyond just being a regional framework, there is going to be a country, which is where the process of ratification takes care of that. You're going to ensure that your standard and measurement departments are up and alive to the responsibilities. The SON in Nigeria, for instance, in other countries they do have, such that you now have products that are certified to play within the free trade area, certified to be standard, durable, and fit into the market economy that Africa is trying to open up. So standardization would not be a problem. Yes, there will be teething problem at the beginning because of implementation. But I believe with all the things laid out in the framework, Africa should be able to manage that.
Quickly, what is the hope of an entrepreneur, just one, that would like to key into the initiative, and then, or better still, those coming as a group?
Well, the individual entrepreneur or a group entrepreneur, as it were, will blossom in the AfCFTA ecosystem.
Rather than going alone.
Yeah, because you are not going to consolidate on what economists will call comparative advantage. Rather than stand alone and not being able to maximize your own economies of scale, you will now be able to say, hey, Lizzie, Wale, let's come together. You bring 100,000, I bring 100,000, and then we'll put resources together. That way we can make a larger output, rather than just doing it at small scale level. That way, when you have entrepreneurs combine, rather than just standing as pockets of entrepreneurs, they will be able to maximize labor, because you have more people employed. You'll be able to maximize technology, power, and so many other resources that will be involved in the process of production. So for me, the AfCFTA provides a very veritable, a good veritable platform for individual entrepreneurs and groups to thrive. because you are going to be maximizing, like I said, on comparative advantage. What is the strength of your country, for instance? If cocoa is the strength, can we go into chocolate production? Can we go into beverage production rather than just doing it in pockets? So it's a beautiful opportunity for African entrepreneurs, and I think the years that lies ahead, we should be excited as
Mr.
entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you very much. This is the much I can take. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Don't forget, let's grow Africa. This is the only continent we have. It is our own.